In today's video, I'm going to be talking about the number one mistake that I see with the law of attraction. Today, we're going to talk about the law of attraction, but I'm going to focus this video specifically on the number one mistake that I see when approaching the law of attraction. I'm going to give you a brief overview of what the law of attraction is. I'm going to share with you a couple of examples of how I've made this mistake in my own life. And then I'm going to share with you what I currently understand to be the most powerful way to avoid making this mistake moving forward, so that you and I can begin to use the law of attraction in a more beneficial way in our lives. Hi, my name is Edward James Carey. Welcome to Praxis Living, where I create content to help you create the life that you want. So what is the law of attraction? This is a concept that was repopularized back in 2006 by a lady named Rhonda Byrne. She produced a documentary-style movie on the law of attraction. And there were a whole bunch of thought leaders with her in this documentary-style video, sharing opinions and sharing experiences on their understanding of the law of attraction, what it was. The summary of what the law of attraction is that our thoughts, our feelings, and our beliefs tend to attract the things in our lives that we see every day. So on the very surface, in a nutshell, that is what the law of attraction is. Now, I learned about the law of attraction in 2006 when that documentary-style movie came out. And today, in 2023, I can tell you, not everything that you need to understand about the law of attraction is in that DVD. It does not get specific enough in order to understand the way to avoid making the number one mistake that I'm about to share with you regarding the law of attraction. And that mistake is this. Most people, when learning about the law of attraction, think that they have uncovered some new discovery of information, just like going to school and getting a degree in a field. They think that they have now come across some new information that they can now apply outside of themselves in order to begin having and doing and being the things that they want. And that's the mistake. The law of attraction isn't new. Your understanding of the law of attraction is new. The problem is you've been operating in the law of attraction your entire life. Until you understand and your eyes are open to what the law of attraction is, you are just simply unaware of it. So, what is the number one mistake regarding the law of attraction that I see? It's people thinking that the law of attraction means that they can have, do, and be whatever they want in their life. That's the mistake. The law of attraction is not about what we can have, do, and be. It's about what we are. The only things that we get as a result of the law of attraction is exactly what we are. It's not about getting what we want. It's about getting what we are. And there's a very subtle and critical difference in that way of thinking. So with that being said, the best examples that I can give you of observing this mistake is in my own life. So let me share with you a story. In my background, I have a 15-year trade career in the plumbing industry. And there was a time when I was pursuing an apprenticeship in plumbing. Here in British Columbia, Canada, what you need in order to become a journeyman plumber is you need a certain amount of hours in the work field, and you need to take 4 academic levels of training. Those academic levels tend to be 6 to 8 weeks of study, and then you go into a final IP, interprovincial examination, and if you pass, you get your red seal and you become a journeyman plumber. The entire process as an apprentice is designed to take approximately 4 years. I was still a second-year apprentice plumber. I had taken my first year and I had taken my second year, so I don't know whether that makes me a second year or third year. Just so you know, I had taken my first and second year, but I had completed all of the work hours that I already needed to complete my apprenticeship and become a journeyman plumber. And I was 5 years into my trade already. I started finding myself after 5 years asking these questions. Why am I not a journeyman? It's what I want. I've got the hours. I've got 2 years of school. Why am I not a journeyman? And it didn't take very long for me to catch on that the reason that I wasn't a journeyman plumber is because I didn't see myself as a journeyman plumber. The problem was that I was seeing myself as an apprentice plumber wanting to be a journeyman plumber. The biggest mistake regarding the law of attraction is that it's not about getting what we want. It's about getting what we are. When this hit me, I accepted the fact that I was not seeing myself as a journeyman plumber. So the best way that I can explain how things shifted is I became aware of the fact that I was a journeyman plumber, and I started to own that mindset. I started to own that identity, and I started to behave differently. I started to behave differently due to the fact that I now knew that I was a journeyman plumber. Now, how did this play out in my life? I had a job in the plumbing industry, in a new construction industry, and I had had that job for a full year of employment. It was a situation where it was a slower time in the development of the project that I was on. It was only me, a direct supervisor, and maybe one or two other apprentices. We were doing a phase of construction that did not require an entire crew. Because I knew that I was a journeyman plumber, I started to do things that an apprentice plumber does not do. And here's one of them. I worked Monday to Friday in this trade, and when Friday hit, if I felt like I wanted an early day, or if I wanted a couple of hours at the end of my day to leave early, I knew that I had to bust my ass to get my job done for that day. And I did. I started developing a habit of doing that. And as a result, I would pack up my tools an hour or an hour and a half sometimes before the end of work. I would put everything away, and then I would go home for the day, and I would simply deduct those hours from my timesheet. And when I turned my timesheet in, it just wouldn't be 40 hours. It would be 40 minus the 1 or 2 hours that I would take off every Friday. I had no problem with that, but it turns out that my supervisor did have a problem with that. I had done this for maybe 3 or 4 weeks in a row, and then one Monday morning, my supervisor came in, and it was just him and it was just me. And the first thing he said when he saw me is, "Ed, what's with all the leaving on Friday afternoons early?" And I explained to him just what I shared with you. The decision was either waste time setting up to do another job just in order to do nothing except set up and then pack all that shit away, or pack my stuff early, go home, deduct the time off my timesheet. And that's exactly what I do. And he said to me, he says, "Well, Ed, you can't just make your own decisions like that." And I said, "I'm a grown man. I know how to make effective decisions." Well, guess what? That got me fired on the spot. I packed my tools and I got in my car. And when I shut the door, I said, "What am I going to do now?" It took me about 2 minutes to get the idea in my head. Why don't you call the school where you take training for plumbing? You've got your hours, you've got 2 years. It's time for you to do third year school. And I said to myself, that's a great idea. I picked up my phone. I called the school that I take training at. I asked them, I said, "When is year 3 intake for plumbing?" And they said, "Today. And we have a spot available." So I was like, "Hold that spot for me. I will be there in an hour." And I drove straight to school, registered to take my third year, and I was in my third year class the same day that this event with me being let go of my job occurred. Now, what happened? I was acting the way a journeyman would act. A journeyman typically does not worry about what anybody else has to say about what they do, how they conduct themselves. They're journeymen. And guess what, my friends? There is a whole endless amount of work for qualified journeyman plumbers, at least in British Columbia. So I tuned into all of this, and that's a little bit of why I had a disagreement with my employer, because I wasn't an apprentice, and he was treating me like one. But you need to understand, I don't hold any ill will against him. He did me the greatest favor that day by allowing me to move on to a new experience, which was to get my shit together and get my red seal in the plumbing trade, which is exactly the process that began to happen the very same day I was in third year. I could not take third year and fourth year back to back because they didn't have sittings. There was a small window of where I had to go back to work in between year 3 and 4, but I rapidly committed to taking year 3, taking year 4, and finishing my Red Seal apprenticeship in the plumbing trade, receiving my Red Seal ticket. And today, I'm a journeyman plumber, have been for the past 8 or 9 years since 2013. 10 years. 10 years I've been a journeyman plumber. And now I'm done with plumbing. This is not my mission, my friends. This is not my passion. It's not where my heart is. It's just something I'm damn good at. But that doesn't mean I have to waste my life doing it. This is what I want to do. I want to help people like you get the life that you want. I want to help you learn the steps that I've learned, how to do the exact same thing for myself, get the life that I want. And that leads me to this. How do we avoid making this mistake about misunderstanding that the law of attraction is not about what we want, but it's about what we are? What I'm about to share with you right now is the current awareness that I have in how to avoid making this mistake of thinking that the law of attraction is somehow about what we want and not who we are. And that concept is called identity shifting. I learned this concept of identity shifting from a fellow successful YouTuber. His name is Quasi Joe here. I'm going to leave you a link to his video at the end of this video so that you can check him out. But I want to let you know that I watched his video and I did the exercise that he shares in his video on identity shifting. It walks you through creating a brand new identity for who you want to be. This is equivalent to sitting down and taking the time to draw out a blueprint for the house that you want to live in, the house that you want to build. Well, if we do that kind of stuff in order to build a house, why would we not want to sit down and take time to invest in creating a blueprint for how we want our life to look? My friends, you and I have the power to do this. We can take time and sit down and decide exactly who we want to be in this life. And then we can watch as everything outside of our reality begins to shift and align into who we are, because that's how the law of attraction works. It adjusts to who we are. But first, we need to adjust who we are so that the law of attraction can adjust to who we are. You see, reality is nothing more than a mirror reflecting back to us who we are. And if you want to know who you really are, take a look at your life around you. Take a look at your finances. Take a look at how you feel every day. Take a look at your emotions and your intellect and your mindset. Take a look at your education. Take a look at your personal level of responsibility. Take a look at the social connections that you have in your life. These are telltale signs of who you are as an individual, my friends. And I say this with love. I accept this as a natural part of my life. I look at my day-to-day life in all of these areas as inventory of who I am and who I'm demonstrating myself to be. How am I showing up in life? And what is in my life in order to indicate who I am? So once again, identity shifting, this is the best gift that I can leave you with as we end this video. I want to thank you for watching this video on the number one mistake of the law of attraction. My name is Edward James Carey. I hope that you like and subscribe to this channel. And as we end today's lesson, I would like you to consider watching this video from Quasi Joe here on identity shifting. Thank you so much for hanging out and being here. Best of life to you. I will see you again soon.